Look, we just started. We're live.
Hi. What are you doing to me? Thank you. Hello, everybody. I mean, I'm all prepped, ready. You just
I
got
just was like, I thought I was panicked. I panicked. Look, I'm here
you.
in the airport.
I mean, you look super cute, though. Should I just do a little
Should you
bit?
want to
I
look?
mean, should I do
Yeah,
just a
I
little
think you
bit?
should.
I mean, just
Absolutely. Yeah.
nobody, nobody knows what You don't have to watch Dynasty to have an attitude is anymore. Nobody
They're like,
knows
what's Dynasty? They have
what's
no idea
Dynasty.
what's Dynasty.
Listen, if what your frame of reference is for Dynasty is that reboot that was done has been done in the past, no.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely, it's atrocious. I tried to watch. I lasted like 2.5 minutes, and I was like, "Oh no, 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 no."
Look, should I put my? I'm in the. Is that better? Let's
Oh, it
see.
is bad. Are you in that? First of all, your hair looks fierce with that lighting,
This
though. It
like it
is.
does.
It really looks. Wait, are you in like the pods in the
Yeah. You want to
lounge
see?
at the
Look.
airport? Wow. Yo, that dude's not watching his bag. Try to scoop that and pull it into.
No, because they're gonna ask. They'll say, "Have you had control over your?" And then if he says no, and then I'll feel bad. What's
Don't
that
feel badly.
line?
Just stick your hand in there and try to find something of value. Let's see. Ask him. Ask him where all of his lithium batteries are. You're helping him out.
Do you have lithium batteries? And look at the hat. My new hat.
First of all, your mom is hilarious.
That's
Is
like the best
hilarious.
hat.
It is a great hat. I love that hat.
It's my favorite new hat, and now I'm calling it my New York hat. I'm actually. Oh, Happy New Year,
Hi,
David.
David. Good morning, everyone.
See, and our
Yes, yes.
millions of fans.
Millions. We got a lot of. I got a couple of notes in advance of this morning about the topic, so that's pretty funny.
Well, let's
People are.
start with like the holiday. Can we start with that? How was your holiday?
Oh, the holiday was lovely. Just like you. The kids were all together, and it was
Yes,
lovely.
we saw the Rockettes, and now I'm going back to New York
Is that where
because,
you're going right now? Is back to New York
yeah, yes,
for work or to hang out, or what are you doing?
for work. I'm working on a project. It's a secret. I can't tell you about it yet.
Oh, I think I know the project. Good. Okay, that's fun.
Yes, and
Fun.
so, and this time we had like, they had to, because I was sick last week,
Yes.
so they had a car drive me from Waco to the Dallas airport. The
Okay.
gentleman was Simon. We were in an Escalade.
Was he courteous?
He was courteous, and he's like, "Are you famous?" And I could not stop laughing.
Say yes.
Yes,
I
I'm very
fully
famous.
famous. Thank you.
He's
And
like,
about to become more famous, so thanks.
he said, "How would I know you?" I was like, "Well, do you have a job?"
You should have been like, pull up your OnlyFans account just to see if he does it, and then be like, well, I'm not on there. I just wanted to know.
I'm gonna start doing that.
Because you just see how quickly people do it, and you're like, oh, you're the OnlyFans. Got it.
Look, and P.S. I am now probably officially famous because I have flown so much in 2023 that in 2024 I am now in group two.
Group two. I can only dream about it. I could only dream about it. First
Group
of all,
two.
Jamie, that she's selling the show to NBC. Let me have some words about this because I'm really getting a little tired. I'm not a prideful person.
Go on.
Let's let that hang in the air for a second. Not a prideful person. But if I have another person say to me, "Oh, I love that you're on Jackie's show. That you guys are so fun." I'm gonna pop somebody. I'm gonna pop somebody.
Tell them I'm on your mom's show. Tell
I'm
them
like,
that.
"Oh, thank you. We actually do the show together, but I
It's
really appreciate
actually
that. Yeah,
our show.
I love that you're on Jackie's show. Oh,
I love that you're on my show too.
hmm, hmm.
People say it to Katie too. You're like,
I know.
oh,
Oh, and I do want to, I'm so glad you said that because I do want to give a shout out. Y'all, everybody listening, please listen to the latest episode of Inclusive AF.
good, right?
Right? Good,
Good
good,
stuff.
good
Good stuff.
stuff.
I mean, that
So
was
good.
like, I didn't want to get up. And you know, people don't know this because I'm so mature as an executive.
Oh,
But,
but he's beautiful. Is that what you're about to tell me?
well, he's absolutely beautiful.
That's how do I know?
To
How
be
do I
clear,
know this is what you're going? Yeah, I
to
know.
be clear.
I
And
know.
then you're like, and then they say stupid things like, oh, you know, I graduated in 2010. And you're like,
There ain't no shame in that. There ain't no
no.
shame.
You're like, mm-hmm.
Listen, what's his face? Who the what's the French president? Is it Narcon? Not how do you say his last name? Emmanuel
I know who
Narcon.
you're talking about. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Anyway, he married his teacher. He met her
Narcon,
when he
isn't that
was.
the stuff when it helps you like
I know. I
when you're
forget
on
what it is.
drugs?
Somebody put in the chat. You know who I'm talking about. He was 15 years old when he met his wife, who was his teacher, and she was 40. Let me just let that
Groomed,
hang there for a second. And he's
groomed,
president of France. So let's
hot.
talk. Yeah. The minute you walked in the room.
A real big voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
That's the only French song we know.
Yeah,
And that and
and
La
it
Vie en
works.
Rose. Yeah,
I never
that's
thought
it.
it would. Yeah, and La Vie and Rosa. I hope the people here don't kick me. What if I get kicked out?
You're not
I
getting
was
kicked out.
wondering, maybe I should do it on my phone, but I forgot. We are remiss. Wendy Daly, we love you, and so
Oh,
good to
good
see you.
morning. I think we're going to say something. My gosh.
I know.
Uh, yes. First of all,
Nikki has your back.
Nikki has my back every day. Thank you, Nikki. That's what I need to start saying. Is like, oh,
Actually,
I'm so sorry.
actually, she's on my show.
She's on my show, and I was famous long before she started doing all this crap. So come on. I feel like when you start to see some of these aging celebrities on shows, and people are like, "Oh, how would I know you?" And you're like, "Oh, okay." I was
Yeah,
around a long time. I know you don't think I'm anything now, but I was something. I was
the dance
somebody.
shows. They're like, we're doing a tribute to Bob Fosse. Who's Bob Fosse?
It's really upsetting when people have no frame of reference whatsoever. Like, for those of you who follow me on, especially on the Twitter's X, whatever it is, I'm always good for the RIP. Always good. When I see somebody pass, I'm RIP so and so and put the context. I cannot tell you how many people are like, yeah, I don't know who that is. These people that work for me in my organization, they're all too young. They don't know who
Fired.
any of these people are. Fired.
Speaking of which, I do want to say one thing. I'm going to sneeze.
Ooh.
Okay, I was in New York, went to Broadway. Want to talk about How to Dance in Ohio?
Oh,
The Broadway
yes,
show that we
yes,
saw.
yes, yes.
In
You
case
loved it.
people know, loved it. In case people don't know, it's a story about autistic adults, and all of the actors in the show had autism. It
And it
was
was
great.
awesome. And it was awesome.
It was awesome.
I love that. You should do a review now that you're famous. They may have you on like the Today Show to do that kind of stuff.
Well, I should probably do a review of the bathroom because let me tell you, I almost didn't make it. I was gonna sit there and mess myself in the middle of Times Square. Swear to God.
First of all, you wouldn't be alone. Have you seen Times Square? Lots of people mess themselves in that place. I mean, come
I
on.
was gonna just point to the person behind me and be like,
You think that naked cowboy is going to find a restroom somewhere? My man's peeing right on one of those pylons that keeps traffic from moving forward.
they
Come
didn't
on.
let him in the Red Lobster to use the
No,
facilities.
they don't. Those bubblegum shrimp, they don't let these people go in
We
there.
went to Margaritaville too.
Oh yeah, all those places. They don't let them in. None of them. Here come Teletubbies. Nope, you cannot come in here and pee. Go in your suit. You right?
They do.
They do. They do. These listen, y'all. Everybody thinks I don't know. I'm telling you, they hang the little pee bottles inside those suits that have some girth, and they just pee in the suit. The Mickey Mouse. Don't hug Mickey Mouse if you see him.
Don't take us if you've never been to New York City. Number one, be careful in Times Square. Number two, don't take a picture with the people. You owe them $1.
You owe them money. And
Yeah.
that ain't Mickey Mouse. I just want to make sure everybody knows. It's
He's
like
not a licensed.
Jackye Mouse. It's some knockoff. It's terrible. You're
It's a
like,
guinea pig costume.
buddy,
It's
your eye
fully a
is falling. Pull your eye back up and stick it back to the felt. Come on.
By the way, did you see the news about Textio? For those who have been paying
Why did you share the news about Textio?
our CEO stepped down. We have a new CEO.
And it's me. Good morning, everyone.
And the security guards made sure it wasn't you. Jensen
100%
Harris.
made sure. If you see this man,
They gave it to all the board members. But I'm so excited about our new CEO. Joe is here.
Joe is here. I'm telling you, I grabbed this mug this morning because I said I miss Joe. And so I rubbed the mug 3 times and look who appeared. Joe. Because Joe, we haven't seen you in a while. So the genie of the mug worked, and here comes Joe.
Literally, let me tell you who I rubbed in order to get here. Okay? This guy literally in the line.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
I travel a lot. Y'all know I travel a lot. I'm trying to be quiet because I don't want to get kicked out of the airport lounge. And I don't want the guy to be in here. But literally, it says form 2 lines. I mean, I know reading is fundamental, so I'm forming the line. And this guy's like over here. I'm like, are you in this line? Like, where are you? I don't see. He goes, yeah, I was in line. I let that guy go in front of me. I was like, literally, I haven't seen you here. Like, this is the line. It goes all the way back here.
I'm telling you,
he was like, if it's an aggravation, you can go ahead. I was like, it's an aggravation. I was like, this is aggravating me. You're right. This is absolutely an aggravation.
And do you know
Thank you for being
so
gracious.
And do you know who I am?
I have a show in 3 minutes.
I have a show in 3 minutes. Go ask Simon, my driver. He'll tell you how famous I am.
In the Escalade. Listen, those Escalades are swanky.
Aren't they nice? I've been picked up in an Escalade before. I want to make sure people know I honestly have value. I swear.
Listen.
Not much, but yeah.
No, I have to borrow other people's value. It wasn't my car.
Can you speak a minute or two on the new CEO for Textio? Because I think it's important.
This is really important for people to know. So Jensen Harris and Kieran Snyder, they're married and started the company together. Now, they both worked several years at Microsoft. That's how they met. One was working on Microsoft Office, the other one working on, spell check back in the day, working on those kind of products in language and in software and user experience. Yep. And I just love that. I always say I've only met Kieran's husband once, but I've worked with Jensen for almost 3 years. And they're very different people, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I love about Jensen is he's mission-driven. He's very mission-driven. And during the course of the last 3 years, anytime I felt like I couldn't go on or I wasn't sure if I could do this, I would go to Jensen. In fact, I invited him to come to Waco, which he's probably never going to let me live down. I had him come to a thing in Waco. I really love him, and I'm excited about what we're going to be able to do with the new product because we're launching Textio Lip. I'm like, it's refreshing.
It's fun.
New year, same me, new CEO.
We still have the same CEO at my organization, so I don't have anything to share there.
Is that your title?
No, I think I use president because I don't. The organization isn't stuttering. It's not large enough to warrant the division of labor between a CEO and a president, because as organizations grow and get to a certain girth and oversight, yes, I said girth.
And when they have the bucket in the costume, you're not big enough for the bucket in the costume.
No, I can't do that, little pea bottle. You're right to reference bucket. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Are we going to get fired from our volunteer job?
This is all going to be YouTube censored, everybody. When you watch it on replay, I apologize. We got censored last week.
We did.
With me and Robin. Yeah. They're really cracking down on the intro music. And so they sent me a note and said, thanks so much for uploading this week's episode. The first, whatever they told me, 27 seconds caused us to have to pull it down from all markets globally. But there's a workaround. Will you allow us to edit out Miley Cyrus flowers? I mean, they specifically said it. Will you allow us to edit it out? And I was like, oh, okay, Google, sure. And they took out the first bit, and so it just starts with Robin and I saying, oh, Miley Cyrus to get us started. Where was she? She's
You're gonna
gone
have to
now.
play the karaoke music.
I don't know. I feel like we're gonna have, I'm sure Kiss got chopped. We're gonna get it. You're gonna get a note, and you gotta just adjust it. It's
We have gotten
fascinating to
several
me.
like that at the
I want
beginning
to
of
tell
our
you,
show.
just do it, because they clip the whole thing. They edit it for you. They say we'll splice together if it's before to after. They
And
do
with
it
us,
for
it's
you.
like 10 seconds.
Yeah, I know. First of all, and Miley needs the press. She should be thanking me that I played it last week. Thank you.
So, are we going to get on topic, by the way? Because I think this is a good one.
It's a great topic. And Joe, I see your comment. Help us, Lord. Her name was Anna from Brazil, and that's all I will say.
And she had a sister.
Not in the car. We went to meet her. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to say anything else.
Let's talk about X. I'm glad Joe brought that up. I, I don't know, man. Did you see
It's
the fight this week with Mark Cuban and Elon Musk on Twitter?
yes, I did. I mean, not that I loved all of what Mark wrote either. There were a couple of things that I was like, all right, buddy, wait a minute. But yeah, they got into it. They got into it. Listen, Elon knows that revenue's down for X. I mean, way down. So he's got to just hold on as best as he can. What's he going to do?
Did I move like this? I don't know. I'll probably have to like
No,
write something.
no. I like it the other way, because there's random people walking by, and I'm waiting to see somebody I know.
I don't want Google to come back in and say that person was the president of.
That person who just walked by was not president of anything. I'll just tell you that right now.
I'm gonna start calling you Wheezy.
I know. The wheeze has gotten worse as I've gotten older. I will tell you this. I'm laughing more like my dad. My dad then would have the wheeze as he got older. And so, isn't that funny?
Oh,
Oh my gosh. So yes, topic. Act your wage.
not just shoe size.
I
Maybe
know.
we
Damn
can
right.
do the twirl.
So
I
what do you
was
think?
I was talking
First
about
of
the
all, did you
topic
get
in the
this?
car.
Did people have you heard this before? Have this come up to you before?
No, no. I think it's a great topic, though. I mean, I was talking to the guy because the guy in the car was like, "Are you famous?" And I was like, "It's always funny." I'm like, "I'm in HR. I get these fancy cars." I'm like,
I'm HR famous. Very different.
I always say, yeah, I have a standard line. I'm like to 25 people.
Yes.
I'm an
Right.
important person, but
Yes.
I'm famous is not. That's a
Kathy
stretch.
says HR famous. I'm like, yes, that's she says it with disdain. That's the best part. He's HR famous. Oh, okay. All right.
But I do think, one of the things, of course, I tell him what I do, and he says, well, because people don't want to work and they don't want to have. And I said, is it that people don't want to work or people don't want to pay?
I mean,
Or
I
both?
see both sides. Yeah. This act your wage thing. First of all, let's say to start with, because we both have feelings about things. If anybody is new to the show, Jackye and I are known to have some feelings about things.
Feelings
Deep rooted, bitterly rooted
and
feelings.
trauma.
Lots of triggering trauma for sure. This whole, quiet quitting, act your wage, minimum wage, minimum wage Mondays, like all these kinds of movements and things. I will say, because I think contextually, act your wage is identified as being born out of some TikTok
Mhm.
starting, whatever. It's where it was founded, and whoever put it together, it was out of TikTok. And what it says is, act your wage. The push on TikTok was, if you're being paid minimum wage, then only give minimum effort. That was where it started. And I want to make sure contextually people know that. That's where it got started. That's a very defensive, argumentative position, if you haven't picked up on that. And so it doesn't likely open doors with your employer when you say, well, if you don't pay me minimum wage and I'm going to give you minimum work. That's tough. That's a tough response to have to your employer. I don't think it helps them to sort of see you as a valued
Yeah.
participant.
Well, then you're not going to get paid at all.
Oh, right,
You're
right.
right. You're fired. Like now you're getting paid nothing. But I feel like that some people do. I think, and it's my own bias because yes, I'm gonna be pro. I'm going to talk about Texio because I think a lot of it has to do with the feedback
Yeah,
of not understanding. When we did our study, y'all saw it about people look like with feedback and about going back to work. We've said, I don't know what's expected of me. I don't know what my job description is anymore. And then I don't know how to get promoted. I don't know how, I'm
yeah,
doing. And so it's like some people say, I should get paid more because I do this, this, and this. Nobody asked you to do that and that and that. Or I have these degrees or whatever. We're not using anything you learned in that degree,
right.
right?
Yes, yeah, yeah. I mean, and part of that is
You
the
had to hold yourself back. What did
I
you
did
say?
because the hands are together because I'm going to be good.
Yeah,
Part of that is organizational folly in that when we put job descriptions together and you say bachelor's degree required and then throw that back in someone's face to say, well, the degree that you have really doesn't do us any good. Well, then why did you put bachelor's degree required? You didn't say what kind of bachelor's degree is required, what area of study is required. You
that's
said
right.
bachelor's degree required. So now I made it through to get the job. Now you're going to turn around and use that bachelor's degree that was required that I have and throw it in my face to tell me we're not really reaping any benefit of that out of that course of study. What do you want my response to be in that? How
That's
do
right.
you like?
What gets me is when they require a bachelor's degree, but don't pay them enough to pay back their student loans.
I mean, there's so much in
Teachers,
that. There's
teachers.
so much. There's so
Like
much in.
you all
Yeah,
know, sweet baby TJ has doubled down. He really wants to be a teacher, and he knows going in.
he is a teacher already. Let's
He
just be clear.
he's a prophet.
He is a
Sweet baby
teacher
TJ.
already.
Why
Honestly, I
don't
mean,
tell me why sweet baby TJ sent me a text message at midnight asking me how to make collard greens?
because my man was hungry. I just want to make sure that he's fed. Please respond to him when he texts you. Don't ignore his text messages. It's very important to me.
I'll tell him to call Uncle John for his collard greens recipe.
Oh,
Um,
I got one. It's called DoorDash. I'll send it to him.
but look, I love yeah, we're told that
Yeah,
we need to do more with less. That wasn't for the employees, boo boos. That was for you, like for the executive team of
yeah,
doing more with less. That wasn't supposed to pass down to your employees. And people say, tell the employees, y'all have to do more with less. And it's like, no, let's make sure that we're being creative because you're going to have burnout and it's going to cost you more
yeah.
to replace all of these people that
Well, and especially if there's specialty areas, and I love David's comment as well. That thanks. Look at all these people that are here, by
I
the way.
know.
Hello,
Hi,
Mary. We're seeing all
Mary.
these people. My gosh. If you're, it's a great question because if you're doing work where certifications are going to be more like germane to the work that you're doing, then I would think an organization should value that more over a general course of study. I'm not taking away from a general course of study. Off camera on a wall, I have my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. I'm very happy that I have them. I don't have any hate for that. But quite frankly, my master's degree was a master's of science in HR development. So did that have more, germane influence to the work that I was doing? Yes, more so than my English degree in undergrad. Well, I mean, I wrote better as a
You
result
don't
of the
even
English
speak
degree,
English.
but right, like no one has ever asked me to sit and talk about courtly love based on Tristan and Isolde. No one in my HR career has ever asked me to do that. Oh gosh, here she comes. Here she comes. Okay.
I'll ask you to talk about courtly love.
I mean, and if honestly, they're probably 96% of the people who are watching have no idea what I'm talking about with courtly love. And I'm not mad about that, but it doesn't really have much to do with the HR work that I do on a day to day. So if you have a certification that's in, the course of work that you're doing, sure, I would think that should be valued higher. And I
Right.
also think an employer can help to pay for those certifications, because that would be direct work, right? That
I
is time frame.
yes. I put in the chat, we never do this, the overlay, because we are on so many different things. Maybe we should do the overlay. We'll see what happens in
The
the next
problem with
30
the
minutes.
overlay is, I feel like it makes my head look even more oval. So I have to. It's all right.
I wanted to get back to, let me go back to what Joe said, which number one, I spend way too much money at Panera. Number two, yeah, why
Right.
would they care about the shareholders?
They don't care. They don't care.
No.
But I also want to make sure I say minimum wage is very different than living wage. So I think that in the course of conversation that we're having, if you're wanting minimum wage to be living wage, you will forever and always be frustrated,
Hmm.
forever and always, because it's just not ever going to happen. It's not ever going to happen. And I know that's hard to hear, but governments can't move that quickly to keep minimum wage at a place that's going to run parallel to living wage. And to be fair, the cost of doing business also from a banking, institutional, financial lending type thing can't keep up with that as well. New Jersey's trying to do things where they're attaching the minimum wage to it, in various indices around where structures are, cost structures, and income related structures.
Did you say indices? Look at you
Indices, that means
using that English degree.
anyway. Back to courtly love, and like, what the state of New Jersey, as one example, what they're finding out right now is this is hard. It's hard to do all of this and keep up with it. Yeah, and then they have to
Turns
go back
out.
to their constituents, the business owners, and say, y'all, I know you were thinking 3 to 5% increases this year. We're looking at 23%. How's everybody doing? Okay. Yeah, they're like, yeah, goodbye. Taking
Yeah.
everything across the river to Pennsylvania. Bye. And that's what's happening. That's what's
I,
happening.
I don't think people understand. We're seeing more also because of people having to post salaries on jobs.
Yes.
And I feel like there should be a pay attention to, are you paying correct when you're looking at these jobs? We know we have lots of our out of work right now,
Yes.
and it looks like even more are going to be laid off. When you're looking for your new wage, you should be able to justify the salary by looking at all of those skills. As soon as you start, it's almost like you want to say, okay, that pays for that salary, you get 15 skills.
Yeah.
In that 16, you better come up with a new salary because we're not educating people on what the salary should be
We are,
on these job
well,
descriptions.
oh my
People are
gosh.
finding out.
I love
Are
you
you
so
freaking
much.
out?
We are not. That is so well said, because we're not. And it's funny because you and I did not talk about this. I want to make sure everybody knows that we don't have this whole secret plan, a lot of like prep where
We don't prep.
we don't
We
prep
don't plan.
anything. No, the only thing we prep are our outfits. That's all.
That's right. My eyebrows
I mean, oh, and
on
my look
fleek.
at these. You like these glasses, by the way. These are another one of your Zelo.
Zelo. They should be
Mhm.
sponsoring us.
They should be sponsoring us. By the way, I may have a coffee sponsor for us for in the very, very, very near future, just so you know. But when you said about compensation, literally, I think one of the Humoriso blog is going out today that I wrote that is absolutely about compensation this week, and the investment that companies have to make to do the right kind of research, the right kind of benchmarking for job duties and responsibilities. Stop taking your title and going on to some site that rhymes with schmallery and putting in the title, and it spits out a range and you're like, oh, okay, then this is what we have to do. That's not correct. I'm not
Dude,
giving this
look,
a hard time. It's
I love
just
what
not the
Wendy
correct
said.
way to
It
do
says
this.
we pay market, but we
That's
don't
right.
define. It's Boston
Right.
market. It's
Whose market?
Boston market chicken.
Listen, I'm from Philly. We had 9th Street Market. You saw Rocky running down it with all the food stands on the side. That's the market that I knew growing up. So they paid under the table, all cash.
We pay super market prices. But I mean, we looked at the thing, we used a couple of different things to figure out the salaries. But what people don't know is that we're looking at it in arrears. A lot of times that's part of what happened during 2020 is that we were paying
Yeah.
salaries, those things would increase, but it was not thinking about the cost of people doing work at home or what we were, if you were enhancing somebody's salary, it didn't factor any of those things or where you were in location or how bad COVID was in your particular area or were you being in a major metropolitan area, right?
Right. Right.
And I mean, I always say I live in Waco. I've worked for companies that are based in Seattle for a long time. I'm like, I couldn't live in Waco on a Waco salary.
The idea of geographic add-ons is absolutely doable, by the way, in a remote workforce. It's
Hmm.
allowed. You're not doing anything wrong, everyone. So if you know the value of the work that's being performed, just the work itself, and then you
Just the
have,
work.
right, just the work. Then if you want to have geographic overlays, because this is so fascinating, right? This is why people ruin it for themselves. This week, I already had someone, it's the truth. We're doing compensation work. We're doing a bunch of this, right? Pay equity analytics and all that. We're doing compensation work for a global organization and building more than just the benchmarking, which is part of it, philosophies, job leveling, competency guides. Y'all, it's a real thing. But one person said, oh, and I don't want to give it all away. The company's based, I'll say, in the central US, which is where a particular person that I'm going to mention lives, and said, oh, because they're starting to see we're operating in transparency, right? Some of this information. I'm going to move, literally what the person said. I'm going to move to New York City for a year, get the bump in pay, and then come back to where this is in central US because I'm allowed to work remotely. And this way I come back here with that high pay and I can get myself something really sweet to live in. Now,
Number
right.
one, you're gonna come back broke.
Because they're
You're
going to
gonna live
fire.
in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number one, you're gonna be fired. Number two, you gotta spend money in New York.
Yes. I don't know what this person thinks, but they think if I stay there a year in New York, even if I'm scraping by and now I'm making whatever X for my salary, I'm going to bring X back here to central US where the cost of living is less, but I'll still be making that bank. These are the reasons why companies need to be thoughtful about having the base range for the work that's actually being done and then the geographic differentiators that are overlays. Because if you move back, you lose that geographic overlay. You ain't coming back with all of that.
You ain't gonna be able to pay for that house
I mean, but first of all, why would you say these things out loud? Think it, you
in
goof.
public.
I mean, come on. And
But
I mean, no
oh,
hiding my
look,
face on the Zoom call that I was on with like 10 other people. I'm like, what? What did he say? What? Yeah.
did y'all hear that? Look at Kyra. Kyra, we got Kyra fired up.
Yay.
Hi, Kyra. Fired up. We're paying competitively in metro areas and internationally. All employees have visibility to salary rates or roles. We update annually. And the thing is, though, even if you do, again, you're in arrears when you're
Yeah.
looking at the salary of saying if this is fair. This was fair a year ago. Hopefully, you caught up within the last year and you figured that out. But it's also pay transparency and making sure that you're attaching those to various skills makes more sense so
Yeah.
that you can say, and it'll be helpful for the employee experience because we can say, you can allow people to say, these are the skills that you need to get that wage. Give
Yes.
yourself a raise.
Yes. Let them participate in the competency guidance, right?
Give
They
them
know the
the
knowledge that's
education
responsible.
budget and say you can use it on whatever you want. These are
And
the skills that are the gaps that we're missing here.
yes, you only know that if you have competency guides, something to keep you honest so that you can
Yes.
say, here's the knowledge required, here's the aptitudes, abilities, right? Here's the skill sets like you're talking about. Here's what's needed. And when someone even sits with you and says, well, I'm a level 4 in this, 7 degrees of whatever for this role, who told you you're a 4? Well, I just looked at the list.
I'm so sick of that. We should
Oh,
just say I have to turn it to like these are the skills that you're being used, because that's the thing that happens, like, so that we can look at somebody's knowledge and how they're giving back to the company. It helps reduce bias so that you're not paying for people who are working harder, because it's not fair for those of those who have families or taking care of a loved one. That means you're never going to have a chance because you want to,
yeah.
stick to the people that you love and that love you, that you want to take care of them. And so you're going to get paid less for that.
Yes. Yes. I
But I
mean,
have all
it's,
these skills that I've gathered from this experience.
and if the role doesn't let you use all those skills and therefore you're not going to be paid for having all the skills, then A, you can't complain. But B, look for a job that lets you use them all and get paid more. I don't know, like,
Or even better, use them at the job that you have. Talk to your boss and say how you could give back to the
if they're
bottom
open
line of
to
the
that.
organization.
Yes.
Some are, but
Some are
sometimes, but the thing that's
problematic.
thank you,
You're
is
welcome.
that a lot of times at work, we remember we've still, companies still push it, it never works, getting people to update their resumes every year so that we can do internal mobility. It never works
Nope.
because people have to do that. I don't know why. It just doesn't. People aren't
Mm-mm.
doing that. And it's like, but you can, like, you're putting things back into their hands. A lot of times people don't know that you have those skills or that you gained those skills or that you got a certification. I mean, the thing is, it's like we know
Absolutely.
it's not the degree. I mean, I laugh. You can read it on some of the stuff about Textio because I love Jensen Harris like a brother. It's going to be weird now that he's going to be my boss. We'll talk about that at some point, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's got his music degree from Yale
Right. Very transferable.
for tubas. I mean, what do we do with that? But yeah, he's brilliant. What's funny is that he has a podcast, or I don't know what to call it, on his YouTube channel. He talks about the sound, the Windows 95 sounds, and all the music in developing those sounds. Anyway, you wouldn't know that you could use that music degree at Microsoft.
I was just going to say that. Like music theory, there's a lot of transferable pieces to that in
Absolutely.
other industries for sure.
And especially like in building these things and how, the experience and how people resonate with different music and the studies and what else. But a lot of times in the organization, they don't know. No, they don't use those things in your degree. I was thinking about that as I was taking that long drive to the airport today. It's like, do I go back to school? I have to pay for my kids' school. I mean, I believe the children are our future. But I was like, do I go back to school? All my friends, you included, they're all like, no, don't go back to
Don't go
school.
back to school. I have to tell you, the hardest thing about going back to school, and I went back later for my master's, my brain did not work the same way. It just didn't. It's gotten harder as I get older. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but if other people feel similarly, like it's harder to retain information and, especially in that sort of academic world where you have to sort of regurgitate a lot of things as well. It was harder.
It's
It
way
took a lot
harder.
more
Plus,
effort.
yeah, you have to respect people.
Oh yeah, I did. No, that's never been my issue.
I am, by the way, I am reading this book. You
It's
recognize the
backwards.
guy?
I can't see it. It's too close. Back up, back up, back up. The fit. What is it? It's mirrored, so I can't tell.
Fabulous.
The Fabulist.
George
Wow.
Santos. It's about George Santos.
You're funny that you're
The
reading that.
lying, I got this for Christmas. The lying, hustling, grifting, stealing, and very American legend of George Santos.
First of all, look, I know people have a lot of feelings. I'm sure that's true. But look, if my man can get into where he got into, the way that
Look,
he got into it,
I'm not saying I'm using it as a study. However, I have questions.
I
I have
have
lots of questions.
questions. Because part of that success is really our fault. It ain't his. He got away
Yeah, it
with it.
is.
That's all.
It's because we don't even know what smart people look like. They
Here,
never,
right here.
nobody
Look at the two
ever.
of us. Everybody use us as a case study. We're what smart people look like. There she goes. This as soon as you gave that $1 million smile, the camera was like, "Ooh, can't handle that. We got to take a
It's
minute."
too bright. It's too bright. I am gonna have to leave early though. I'm starving. I can't get on that plane. You know,
What time
I'm
is your
not.
flight?
My flight's actually 10:38.
Okay, so an hour from now, a little
Yeah,
less
yeah,
than.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But one of the things that I think is important to mention in what you're sharing is that a lot of this requires communication. you're required to have conversation with your team to be able to know where people see this work going, the skills and abilities they think would be helpful or useful in a new way. You have to talk to people about that. And then you can talk about paying them for that. If you don't understand why it even matters, you're never going to be open to this conversation of compensation. It'll always come back to the things that promote an unequal approach to compensation in companies. Always it'll be who's got the loudest mouth, or who do we like the most, or
Well, that's why
who's
it's so
been here
important
a
to look at
long
these
time.
skills,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like a
Yep.
PS, Yvette and Mel, I'll let y'all know. We'll have book club and I'll let you know. We'll plan an episode in February as book club day, and we can talk about all the books me and John read, a
George sent
chapter
this to
or
me.
less. I have lots of questions. But the thing is, it's like we got at organizations, we're always trying to find, we have a good team, but there's gaps, right? It's like anything else. It's like
Yep.
you hire these people, you don't recognize the gaps. Even if you interview for those skills, it just, you're always going to have some kind of gaps. And we don't, people are leaving to find those opportunities. We're not building those opportunities at work. Why aren't we building those opportunities at work for the people to utilize those skills for good?
Yes. And you can't complain then, and I mean this generally. You can't complain about kind of what you heard from Simon, right? People don't want to work, or organizations will say our people are ungrateful, they're entitled. And I'm not saying that specifically there can't be people who fit into that. Of course, there are people who are too entitled, and so I get that. But generally speaking, that's really not true for the majority of individuals that work with you. It's not true.
No.
And the
But I
statistics
did get
don't
on,
show that.
I can tell you, I got on a soapbox. I'll try not to get on it, and I promise again, I'll try not to be too loud in the America Airlines. This is office. But I was like, I was reading something. Somebody put something out on Glassdoor about Texio, which I was frustrated,
Negative about on Glassdoor. Yeah.
negative, because I said, like, we have changes. People feel some kind of way.
Yep.
But one thing that has stood out in interviewing for the role, I still have 2,000 resumes to go through. And there's lots of people that want to explain to me why they're qualified for the job, even though they don't have the title. I want to know about skills. Tell me if you think that there's
Yep.
something that's missing and if there's a mutual. But then you have people that are there who, like, now that we're looking to give people opportunities. Now that I've given you the opportunity, you have to meet me halfway, right? I'm giving you the opportunity to be great. If things didn't work out the way we expected, it doesn't mean you don't have the opportunity to be great,
Right.
right? But you have to do your job.
And that's where this act your wage piece
And your job is
falls
advocating
apart.
for yourself. Like, sorry, when I say do your job, I'm talking about in advocating for yourself and holding
Right.
your manager accountable and doing all those things. Like, you can't just sit back. Okay, now I've got the job and I'm going to sit
But
back and
that's what
expect
act
things
your
to
wage
happen.
is. That's what I mean. That's exactly right. That's what when you make a decision to say I'm being paid minimum wage, then I'm going to give a minimum effort. That's not proactive in the way that you just described. To advocate for yourself and say,
But
let's look at the work that you're asking me to do.
no,
Here are some other things that maybe we could add to it, or have you given this thought, or let's have this, management kind of discussion. When you make the choice to say, then I'm going to just give you minimum effort, and that's it.
you're
You
not helping
you have
yourself.
just shot yourself in the foot when it comes to
And you've
trying to
just
advocate for
shown
yourself.
why you're not going to get promoted into leadership.
Correct.
Because listen, this is one of the things that we talk about and we ingest. We're saying that's why I get the big bucks. But there's a part of it that's true. Like, why are you answering your phone on a Saturday? Why are you doing all these things? Like, acting my wage means being held accountable, making sure we have these experiences, following up with phone calls. I have
Yep.
to get this done by a certain time. I'm expected to make these particular deadlines. If I don't think, because there's going to be days we know it's hard for salaried employees. There's a difference too between salaried employees
Yes.
and hourly
Yes.
employees. And
Yes.
the ones that really get taken advantage more is hourly employees. And so you would think that it wouldn't, but you're asking them to do stuff outside so then they don't have time to do their regular work. Then you don't want to pay them overtime. You're forcing them to do, that's where you're forcing people to do less with more. And it's inappropriate where you have to look at, am I hiring the right people? you know?
And who is training people to know how to hire the right people? We across the board, we do very little when it comes to internal upskilling. Even if somebody is starting with something, how do we help that first time manager know how to interview, how to look for skill sets, not just look at their resume and say, oh, you did this job before, that's therefore I want to hire you now. If they've done the job before, again, I'm speaking generally, if they've done the same exact job before and they're now coming to you to do the same exact job again, is that the right next step for them? I know there's skilled labor that's going to be what it is, but I mean, we want to find the same level. Well, wouldn't the person coming to you want advancement? Maybe that's why they left where they were, is because there was nowhere else to go. So if I'm just looking for I'm doing a resume review to look for the same job title that I'm looking for on their resume.
I would
That's
say that's
not
how you
always
hire
what,
burnt out people. That's
yeah.
exactly how you hire burnt out people. I do love what Wendy said though. It's like people don't need to advocate. You just sparked something in me that I think we need to do on this show, and we can do it internally, is telling people, how do you get promoted? Like I wanted to do like a Toastmasters internally, because sometimes you just need to know the words on how to communicate what your needs are with your boss. We as managers need to tell our people what we expect and advocate for them, which kind of goes into what Nikki was saying. I
Yep.
mean, and unfortunately, put a one in the chat if you still have learning and development at your organization and you have 5,000 employees or under, right? We're not teaching people, we're not meeting with people, you
This
know?
is what's happening with that. Bye. See ya, L&D. See ya, DE and I. See ya, L&D. We're getting rid of TA. You got companies that they
Oh, we
got.
don't need it. I've got
We don't need it.
chat
No,
GPT
we're all so good at hiring now and sourcing and
because we're
screening.
so good at writing job descriptions.
Listen, people are going to hate me for this because this will be a whole other episode. That decision on the independent contractors is going to push job descriptions to be scrutinized even more than current state and city legislation. Watch. That's a little preview, by the way. I'm going to do a little web chat next week with
No
our
charge
buddy.
for that.
No
Go for it.
charge, free web chat happening next week, next Wednesday afternoon with Eric Meyer, our buddy. He's going to go through some of the independent contractor pieces. So look on my LinkedIn for that link. But that, to your exact point, it's a reason now. Now at least you can sit. If you've been afraid to kind of have the job description discussion with your employer to say, can we look at my job description? Are we allowed to? If you're in HR, you need to sit with everybody and say, we have to, because this independent contractor thing is going to come back to bite us in the rear end if we don't have tight job descriptions. And while we're at it, let's look at if these job descriptions really do describe the work that is being done and how it's being done and what we need in someone to do the work. This is the time.
Wendy's got it so right. It's like and when someone tells me that they want someone to hit the ground running, I want to hit them in the face running, but
Right.
I'm just as guilty, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or it's like but you have to be. Here's the thing too, as you're recruiting people, you have to tell them what the deal is and know exactly what you're looking for and have those conversations of hit the ground running, because they might have additional skills that
Yeah.
you haven't thought of what that means, to make sure that they do have those skills to hit the ground running, and don't base it on what you can read.
When you say hit the ground running, right? I think it's a great, thanks, Wendy, for bringing that up. When you say hit the ground running, okay, can I ask you a question? Sure. What's the path on the ground? Is it the
No, wait,
one that,
yeah. What am
right?
I running to?
Right. Because you think it's this oval track. In your mind, when you say hit the ground running, you're putting them on something that's a closed loop. What if I have somebody come in that's a cross-country runner? They're not following that track.
They're running straight to their next job.
But they're hitting the ground running. They're hitting the ground running. So, like, really define what it is that you mean. That doesn't help me. It certainly doesn't help a hiring manager know what they're looking for if you've just sort of instilled in them, just look for somebody that can hit the ground running. Oh, okay, chief, you got it. They don't know
I
what
love that Yvette said my sultry voice. Yes, this is my American Airlines business office voice. Thank you for the boiled egg and the apple juice.
First of all, what a combination. The boiled egg and apple juice. What, you want me to have some sort of lower GI issue while I'm on the plane?
On the
Why?
plane,
Why
you would
would you
think that
do
they
this?
would give something with a little more fiber.
Oh, Diana's comment, though, I think is worth bringing up as well. Um, Diana's asking about multi-sport players, right?
Mm,
This idea of, someone that's a utility player, right?
mm-hmm.
Which is really, those of you who've been around a minute, we used to hire utility
Triathlons.
players, right?
They can
Like,
run, they can swim, they can
they can
bike,
just plug and play in everywhere. Well, number
plug and
one,
play. Another favorite.
a favorite. Number one, Number one, the cost of utility players is way high. So if that's what you really mean, then get ready to pay for it. Because if I can plug into 2 or 3 positions and just sort of cross lines easily because my skill sets are transferable in that way, that's kind of a unicorn. So get ready to pay for that. And the other thing I would say is, who's determining their ability to be a multi-sport player? Who's sitting in the hiring process and in the management process to determine, yeah, that's a multi-sport player? You need to
Don't
know
ask
that
them about how
criteria
to
ahead of time.
prioritize. Yeah. And but yeah, I'm a multi-sport, but I'm not good at time blocking,
Right,
prioritization,
right.
documentation,
It's like the job description that says must be able to multitask.
and other duties as manager, whatever the thing is.
Like,
You know,
I love sitting with hiring managers when they're like, I really need somebody who can multitask. Okay, let me look at what you've done this past 2 weeks. I
you
don't
can't
look
even
like you know
chew
how to
gum and
multitask.
walk.
You can you That's right. You're trying to take notes while and drink your coffee. You've spilled 3 times on your shirt. Now what you want me to do with that?
Multitask.
What do you
You
want me
can't
to
even
do?
like talking and spitting like you do.
Yeah, I'm
Hiring
just
manager.
mean. I just mean these things that are, and I'm not saying multitasking is a problem.
You
I'm
said you
not,
can't even take notes and drink
and
coffee.
drink coffee. You got 3 dribbles on your shirt, and yet you're going to be responsible for somebody's income because you're going to give them a performance review about their multitasking. I'm going to give you one.
Deuces.
Update your resume. That's my response. That's my recommendation.
I recommend you learn how to type
take
because
off, take off in your profile where you wrote multitasker. Take that out. Take that out. Out. Take it out. I mean,
let's get them to do one job. How about you train them, make sure, and give them feedback so they know exactly how to do the one job?
but we get mad at people that don't know how to multitask, or again, be this utility player. If you're having surgery done, if you are being operated on, you want your surgeon to be multitasking while they're operating on you? Tell me that you do.
Yeah, we know how that happens. TikTok.
Right,
Thanks,
right.
TikTok. That
I
doesn't
mean,
work out so great.
now some of those things are television shows. They're not real life. The doctor who's doing open heart surgery and is also doing their, DraftKings, they're putting their bets in at the same time. That's not really how life is. It's not really what's
It's
happening,
not. I need
right?
people to focus and I need people to know. And we need to, you know, we need to, I don't know. A part of it I know is just like, it's just greed.
I, I, I don't disagree. I'm going to use,
I say
I think
some,
for me, some,
some.
I think a lot of it is ignorance in the true sense of the word. I think it's
I
that
don't even
people
think it's
don't know.
ignorance. It's systemic. It's trying to
For
perpetuate a
sure.
system that's been there for years. So
Yes.
that's where the ignorance comes from.
Listen, systemic ignorance, you can walk into a whole lot of organizations in the US and see systemic ignorance for sure. For sure. Look, here she goes with it. Here, yes,
Systemic
yes,
ignorance.
yes. Look, this show could only handle his picture twice before the camera shut off. It was like, no, no more. He got enough press time. But it's, in all seriousness, we've got to kind of put our heel in. Don't put your foot down. Put your heel into the path and say, we got to slow down for a second and sort of regroup on what we really need in these positions. Because if you are looking at the job market, if anybody is looking at the job market, we don't have enough people to
No,
do
and
all the jobs
HR,
that we say we need.
give HR and talent acquisition the
Ooh,
time.
are you doing mimosas? Are you slurring already?
All I've had was a thing of water like this. I'm like, I really want that boiled egg. That boiled egg sounds delicious right now. If you have, we need people to have the time to go to the hiring managers, talk about what the gaps are, being able, I'm not even talking about different, put up the various tasks, see
Yes.
if we can use people across the organization, or if we have time just as much as you would in any old family, you know? It's like, I know work isn't a family, but I'm saying if your organization, your department has time and various skills that can be utilized, we could do more together, especially if you have remote workers. Make sure that you're talking about the skills and the gaps, but we need to be able to help
Yes.
with the job descriptions and say, are we willing to pay more for that skill? Does that change for the whole
Yep.
organization? Don't add it on later because we still have to have extra pay for extra work.
First of all, Kai, you got to bring up the eggs. 2 pickled eggs for breakfast this morning. When I go to Sam's and I see that huge Sam's Club, they have that huge like jar of eggs that they sell that are like that reddish colored liquid. I don't know how that's appetizing to anyone on this planet. I can't.
Have you ever heard
Number
of
one,
Kool-Aid eggs?
I have to tell you something. If you're going to Sam's Club and buying those pickled eggs in bulk, there's such a need that they have to do it in bulk. Who are these people? I want to understand. Who are they? There's a need. I don't know who these people are, though. Who are they?
Well, listen, friends, I really do have to go. I'm gonna
We
go
have to
get on
end
the
a few minutes
plane.
ago.
But
Yes.
today has been great.
It's so wonderful. And you look fabulous. I'm
Thank
telling
you.
you, are you first class today or no?
No, but I am group two, so I get to walk through everybody to seat 21F, all the way back there.
Why are you all the way back there? You got to get up closer.
I,
I mean, I'm not as high status as you. I'm group 4 usually for American, but my seats are. If I start creeping past 13, I start to break out in hives. I'm like, no, this can't be. This can't be.
Kai has to teach us on the show. We need to bring Kai on to teach us how to pickle our own eggs.
I mean that's fine, but I don't blame her for not buying pre-made because every time I'm at Sam's Club, I'm like, Lord, who is buying these?
How good are they though when you have them in the front with like the hubba bubba and the pickles? Come on.
They are. First of all, don't give Hubba Bubba any grief in the same sentence as pickled eggs. That blueberry Hubba Bubba is gold. We love y'all. Thank you for hanging with us.
Clink,
Cheers.
clink.
Clink. Bye.